comparing Returnal and Ghostrunner in terms of difficulty and overall like enjoyment, I would say Ghostrunner is a more difficult game. Returnal is a more enjoyable game. So quickly here, like I'm gonna go over various things, and yeah, so this is gonna have gameplay in it, and I'm gonna kind of go back and forth between the two games. So this is not gonna be a full-on comparison, just in terms of difficulty and what's more fun. So difficulty, Ghostrunner is a first-person type platformer, hack and slash. Yeah, so like it has a different genres in one. Returnal is a roguelike type third-person shooter. It plays similar to the Mass Effect type games, but with a more advanced mechanics. You move faster, smoother, and yeah. So roguelike meaning that if you die, you return to a certain point, like a fixed point, which is always the start of the game. So overall, Ghostrunner, you are gonna die a lot more times. It is harder in that if you get shot once, you are dead. If you get shot once at all, you are dead. That's it. You're done. And once you are dead, but there's constant checkpoints. Ghostrunner has constant checkpoints. Returnal only has 2 checkpoints on the entire game. Once you get 50% done the game, like once you finish Act 1, which is 50% done at the game, not including at the arcade mode, right? So once you get to that point, there is a checkpoint. For Ghostrunner, there's constant checkpoints. Returnal, there's only that one checkpoint. Returnal does have more enemy variety, right? And you take out enemies. You take out enemies fast. The enemies, you can die very quickly, like in Returnal, in that the various bosses and the various sub bosses. The sub bosses, especially, are very hard. They will catch you by surprise. Ghostrunner, on the other hand, right? Because there's that notion that if you get shot once, you are dead. Ghostrunner, you gotta constantly be moving, and it's like wall running, a lot of wall running, jumping, double jumping. There is also a bullet time as well, but with all that being said, you will die very fast in Ghostrunner. Returnal, still, like, you have to be more careful, because if you die, you will get sent back to that fixed point, and then most times you lose all of your perks, health pickups, health bar and all that. So yeah, the weapon upgrades and all that. So yeah, you got to be very careful, like when you're playing a Returnal. Another thing about overall difficulty is the overall, like, I just say overall feel for the game. Returnal feels more, because Returnal is third person, right? I feel like a Returnal, you do move faster, but Ghostrunner is a more fast paced game. In that a Returnal, it does slow down more in between areas. Ghostrunner is just constantly moving at 1,000 miles per hour. Just constantly moving and moving and moving. It never stops. Whether it be puzzles or platforming, taking on enemies, various enemies, and you always have to be on the move in Ghostrunner. You always have to be on the move. Returnal as well, in that is, third person type dodging in these various biomes. There's tons of different projectiles coming at you. But knowing the fact that in Returnal, you can, I hope I don't mix these games up. In a Returnal, you can take damage, or you can take various hits and still be alive. Ghostrunner, no, it's the other way around. So Ghostrunner, you gotta constantly be moving, bullet dodging, wall running, constant. So in terms of special abilities, so far I finished a Returnal. Ghostrunner, I still have to finish. It is a very extremely hard game, extremely. So in terms of abilities, Ghostrunner has this ability where you walk into the slow zone. So slow zone, everything around you moves slower, but you remain at the same speed. So it's very cool in dodging. You can dodge bullets a lot easier, kill enemies a lot quicker. It is very cool. Returnal, on the other hand, does have tons of different abilities and perks. Health pickups, calorie pickups for weapon, for weapon upgrades. There's also things where, the various power-ups in that, which will give you extra health, alt-fire abilities. Every weapon has different alt-fire abilities. So there's a lot more in terms of the variety in how you approach the gameplay. You have revive abilities. You also have things like do more damage, extra damage, buffs, tons of different buffs. And yeah. So a Returnal has more in terms of, abilities. You also have Ghostrunner also has the ability of what's the ability called again? Where you can basically speed. So you base like a speed kill. So you can basically speed slice your way through enemies. But this is very limited. It is very limited. You also have another one where you can automatically in Ghostrunner you can automatically set the traps on your own through this one ability through stepping into the shuriken zone or whatever, so you can stop certain traps, electric traps and all that. So yeah, and there's various puzzles. So puzzles, Returnal, the puzzle is more about finding your way. Like in this maze, certain biomes are harder to get around in. Ghostrunner, you'll have certain areas where it's this hard ass puzzle where you have to set up this circuit. The circuit has to exactly flow a certain way, right? And for you to be able to progress. And it is a very hard puzzle. Very hard puzzle. It's going to take a while to do it. And puzzles in the platforming, making your way through platforming. And there's tons of wall running in the game. That's what most of the game is, wall running through these platforms. And the platforming, some platforms will, similar to the Crash Bandicoot, will kind of change, shift. Other platforms will disappear at certain moments where you will fall to your death, right? And both games have fall damage. Returnal, you can fall and still be alive. Ghostrunner, if you fall, you're dead, right? No, I mean, if you fall into the abyss, you're dead, basically. So, in terms of like overall feel for the game, in overall fun, Returnal, I have more fun playing Returnal. Even though in the back of my mind, in Returnal, dying is not an option because it sets you back to the fixed point. But with Returnal, the more you progress, the more shortcuts you get. So you go back to the fixed point, but you get shortcuts along the way the farther along you progress. And it is a lot easier to play, like just keep playing over and over and over again. Returnal is very special in that there is a variety aspect. Every time you're reset, the environments change, the enemy placements change, the pickups change. And it's like a kind of like a rolling, a dice or different, you will, the environments change based on how many times you die or whatever, or every time you die, the environments do change. Ghostrunner, for the most part, every section is a fixed section. It's more linear section, so the environments don't really, they do change, but for the most part, every checkpoint is the same. Like you just have to memorize enemy placements. The enemy placements are the same once you get past them, or let's say if you wanna replay it. So with the roguelike element of Returnal, it is more fun, and given the fact that there is more variety in the guns you get, the weapons you get, how you can take out the enemies a lot quicker, and like the all fire ability for every weapon. There's tons of ability in this game, tons of ability. Ghostrunner, I forgot to mention, Ghostrunner, you're kind of like this samurai type cyborg. I don't know what you are really, but you have like this kind of samurai sword and it slices through enemies. So like it'll basically kill an enemy at a one-shot kill, but you can die per every one bullet. So every one bullet will kill you. So yeah. So just knowing that Ghostrunner, you are gonna die a lot more. Returnal, dying is a bigger consequence. So it's kind of, pick your poison. What do you like more, or what's the path of least resistance, or what's the path of the least annoying? And so in terms of overall enjoyment, I did enjoy Returnal more because Ghostrunner, you are gonna die a lot more, and given the fact that there are certain traps, there are traps and puzzles that you gotta get through as well. Returnal, sometimes it is kind of one of the hardest part is it is kind of like a maze to kind of get throughout the environment and progressing. You're mostly progressing to get to the next boss. Per every biome has a certain boss except one, and certain pathways, because the pathways do change. It isn't predictable. It's not consistent in that you go to this place, go to this area, move on. It's not linear. The roguelike element, the pathways change, the enemy placements change, and some playthroughs you're gonna get more lucky. Other playthroughs are not so much. So yeah, in overall variety, right? There's more variety in Returnal. So overall enjoyability. So the enjoyability in Ghostrunner, going back to Ghostrunner has a different type of enjoyability where you constantly Every time you die, you know, like you just keep on going at it and at it and at it and at it. And it's trial and error. Lots of trial and error. You're gonna die a lot in both of these games, but yeah, more so in Ghostrunner. You're gonna die way more in Ghostrunner. And just the fact that there's one checkpoint where it took me 50 times, 50 deaths just to get past this one area, where there's this field, right, where you cannot attack the enemies, you know, but the enemies can kill you, right? And you know, that's a one shot kill, right? Both ways, you kill them in one hit, or they kill you in one shot. So there's a certain field or shield that shields the enemies, so you cannot attack them, you know, unless you take out this certain field or this certain source of the field or whatever. And yeah, so just I died a lot of times, and yeah, it's very fast paced. The bullets move very fast, but you move very fast, and the puzzles, they really get me. You know, they really get you thinking, and they're really all about, you know, patience and understanding how what the game is giving you, and you know, requirements and all that. So yeah, overall enjoyability, and our, you know, our Returnal is more replayable because again the maps change and the environment changes. Ghostrunner is harder, a lot more difficult in that I am gonna die a lot more times, and there is more things in the game that goes against you, right? So yeah, and as well, Returnal does have that really fun arcade mode, which is kind of like a side thing, right? But just comparing game to game, base game to base game, Returnal does have a lot more in its the overall different pathways and a variety. So please like, share, subscribe, guys. Returnal on one side, and you have Ghostrunner. Gameplay is going to be involved. Like, share, subscribe, guys. Let me know what you guys think of this comparison. And leave any recommendations or suggestions for games that you have. Thanks for watching.